There is a moment happening in your chart today, Cancer, that most horoscopes will completely gloss over, a full circuit closing just as a brand new one begins to hum quietly in the background. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will understand why today feels like two different days fighting for your attention. Let us start with what is actually moving up there. A major cycle involving your siblings, cousins, or the people in your immediate neighborhood has just wrapped. Not paused, not delayed, finished. Whatever repetitive setup you have been circling with these people, the same conversation, the same dynamic, the same loop, that revolving door has quietly shut. In Western tropical terms, this reads like a completion in your third house of communication and close kinship, the zone ruled by how you talk, think, and connect with the people nearest to you. And here is the part that matters. This is not really about them. It is about you rediscovering who you are once that old script stops running. The words and ideas you reach for now, whether spoken or written, become tools for rebuilding yourself, not just filling space in old conversations. At the same time, something warmer and more immediate is unfolding. Communicative Mercury is sitting right in your own sign this weekend, and today it catches a flowing trine from the moon. Different astrologers frame this moon placement slightly differently, with one Western view placing it in Pisces and another noting it moving toward Aries by evening, but both agree on the texture of the day. Your inner voice and your outer words are finally cooperating. That is rare enough to notice. When Mercury sits in Cancer and receives an easy trine like this, you tend to explain yourself less and mean more. You stop over-explaining and start speaking from lived experience instead of second-guessing every sentence. Now, in Vedic tradition, there is a different lens on today's sky, and it is worth naming clearly because it does not contradict the Western picture, it deepens it. Vedic astrologers watching the moon's placement in Aquarius today point to a more restless, agitated undercurrent, a kind of static in the nervous system that has nothing to do with anything you are doing wrong. Both traditions are actually describing the same weather from different windows. The Western lens sees flowing communication and creative confidence. The Vedic lens sees the emotional friction underneath that confidence, the tension that comes right before a breakthrough. You may feel both today, articulate and a little on edge at the same time. That is not a contradiction. That is the full picture. Take a breath here, because this next part is personal. If you have been feeling like your usual sounding boards, the friends and family you normally process things with suddenly feel a little different to talk to, you are not imagining it. That old circuit finishing means the way you connect is shifting too, even with the people you love most. So let us talk about what this means for your relationships, because this is where today gets genuinely interesting. With Mercury still glowing in your sign and that supportive lunar trine in play, conversations about beliefs, travel, or future plans have a way of turning surprisingly personal today. You might bring up a dream or a life choice casually and find yourself explaining what it actually means to you in a way you have not before. Here is the detail almost everyone misses. You may discover that someone close to you wants a very similar thing to what you want, but for completely different reasons underneath. The instinct here is to smooth that difference over, to agree quickly so the conversation feels comfortable. Resist that. Ask another question instead. Curiosity will take you further today than agreement will, and love actually grows when both people are allowed to hold their own full point of view rather than merging into one. This same energy carries beautifully into how you show up with family today. A simple check-in call, an ordinary conversation with someone you love, carries more weight than usual right now. Not because anything dramatic needs to be said, but because you are speaking from that more grounded, lived-in place Mercury is offering you. Now here is where the story bridges into your work life, because the same planetary conversation happening in your personal relationships is playing out at your job too. Professionally, you are likely feeling less patient with being underestimated. There is a quiet but firm current running through today that says you will not accept less respect than you are due at work. That is not ego. That is the same self-recovery theme from earlier showing up in a different room of your life. As the moon shifts into your career zone by evening, per the Western view, casual conversations about your professional passions might come up naturally, maybe even at dinner. The caution here is simple. Talk about what excites you professionally, but hold off on any actual deal-making or negotiating today. Let the excitement breathe before you turn it into a transaction. That same steadiness extends nicely into your finances. The overall picture here looks favorable. Current transits suggest a stable financial footing today, though emotional undercurrents, that Aquarius moon friction we talked about earlier, could make you more irritable than usual if money conversations touch a nerve. If you can, save any major financial decisions for the early afternoon. Traditionally, the window between 2 and 3 of the clock is considered favorable for important tasks today. So if you have a call to make or a decision to finalize, that is your window. Here is what makes today genuinely rare, and this is worth sitting with for a second. You have one planetary story about finishing a cycle with people close to you, and a completely separate planetary story about speaking more truthfully than usual, both landing on the exact same day. Most people will experience this as just feeling off or intense, without realizing these are two different endings and two different beginnings overlapping. You are not confused today. You are in transition. And transitions always feel a little like standing in a doorway, one foot in the old room, one foot already stepping into the new one. Physically and mentally, many people with your sign report feeling genuinely strong today, which is good news because it means you have the energy to actually act on this doorway moment rather than just think about it. Stick with the routines that have been serving you and let go of the ones that have not. That finished cycle we talked about at the start applies here too. If restlessness or irritability creeps in this afternoon, do not fight it and do not drown in it. Distract yourself gently, take a short walk, step outside. Let the nervous energy move through you rather than settle in. Some Vedic practitioners may recommend Saturn-related remedies, specific mantras or practices, for individuals whose birth charts support them, though this is never universal advice and always depends on a full chart reading rather than a sign-wide recommendation. What is safe and genuinely helpful for everyone today is simply this: wear something gray if you can. It is considered a small, steady anchor for a day that asks you to stay grounded while everything shifts. Picture it like standing at a bridge that is just finished being built behind you. You do not need to look back at the old road anymore. It served its purpose. But you also do not need to rush across this new bridge either. You are allowed to just stand here for a moment and notice how solid the ground feels under your feet before you take the next step. If travel crosses your mind today, lean toward the familiar, somewhere you already know, and love tends to serve you better than somewhere entirely new right now. There is a groundedness available in returning to a place that already knows you back. And if a spiritual or philosophical conversation comes up, whether it is about beliefs, purpose, or where your life is headed, let yourself actually name the next concrete step rather than keeping the idea comfortably vague. Naming it out loud is what makes it real. For the quick version, your lucky color today leans gray. Your best window for important decisions falls between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, and your theme for the day is honest speech over comfortable silence. So here is what I would leave you with today. Let that old circuit with the people close to you stay finished. Do not reach back for it. Speak plainly about what a dream or plan actually means to you, even if it complicates the conversation slightly. Protect your afternoon window for anything that truly matters. And when restlessness shows up, do not run from it, walk through it. The version of you that finishes today's story is quieter, more certain, and a little more herself than the one who woke up this morning. That is not a small thing. That is the whole story of today.